Alright.
Do you want me to remind you before 5:30?
Yeah, before 5:30, because I gotta roll out. Alright. So we're gonna start today. We're gonna have Vedic math, and then we're gonna get straight into the rites of passage piece. So those of you that when you talking, talk up so that we can get your voice. Y'all been getting a lot of hits every week. We getting more and more people listening. So there are people out there interested in what you got to say. So first we're going to turn it over to Miss Tracy and she gets started. We're going to do, I don't know exactly what we cover in the Vedic math, but we're about to get down.
All right, Brown, we're about to leave out.
All right.
Thank you, little brown family.
Daddy, can I do that?
Okay, what I'm giving you is a worksheet, but the worksheet is a little different because what we're going to do is kind of reiterate what we've been doing so that we can keep that kind of fresh and not lose it. Because what we learned is when you don't use it, you lose it. So you start with putting your name and your day at the top of the paper. We can look at it a little bit.
Were you able to pull this sheet up there?
Huh? That's the shit I wanted to do. Did you have something else you want to?
No, this one. Were you able to put it If not, I could just write.
You just right.
Okay, so the first part, do y'all remember how we complete the whole? What do we do to complete the whole?
Take it to its closest 10.
Take it to the closest 10. So we have 25. How much do we need to complete the whole?
30.
We need 5 to make it 30. So yeah. 38. 57. 69.
1.
16. Is there anybody else in here? 82.
8.
Where y'all at? 91.
9.
9 is right. Okay, so now, remember when we did the multiplication for the numbers that are close to 100 to multiply them together without doing the long multiplication way that we're usually used to. So for the second part, how far are we from 100?
1.
85.
15.
87.
13.
93.
7.
95.
5.
79.
21.
92.
8.
Good job. Doubling. This is what we did the last time we were here. And when we do doubling, what we do is we kind of break the number apart and add those two parts. Like, let me give you an example. If you take the number, say, 82. That's 80 plus 2. So if we double 80, we get what?
160.
If we double 2, we get what?
4.
So when we add them together, we get what?
164.
164. So that's what the doubling is.
Gina.
So then we look at 82 is 164. We're just doubling the numbers. And what we do is, the way for some of y'all who weren't here, the way we did that was we broke the number down, we broke the number apart, split it apart, double each part, and then added those parts together. So you're splitting, doubling, adding.
Can you do an example
Another one?
for that first one? Can you do 50?
50 is too easy, so that's why I did 82.
Wait a minute, so 50 is just 25 and 25?
No, 50, doubling 150 and 50.
Okay.
100. Yes. Doubling this time to a good way to explain that. So you got to know.
Plus 5. This is 10. No, 20 plus 5. That is 40. Plus 10 equals 50.
Right. So, but I want to explain to you about the 25s. Whenever I see 25, the way I work with 25 is like quarters. How many quarters are in $1?
4.
What is a dollar? 100 what?
Pennies.
100 pennies,
100
100 cents. So 4 quarters are the dollar. So if you look at it like that, then you can work with your quarters that way. So 1 quarter is what? 1 quarter, 25. 2 quarters,
50.
3 quarters.
75.
Y'all see how easy that is, right? Okay, now let's take a doubling. So when we double, we're multiplying by 2, kinda.
Can
But
we
the
have
way,
one more sheet? I'm sorry.
the way I explained it is we break it apart, double, add each part. 50.
Wait a minute. So when we're doubling, you want us to take it to 100?
Right.
Yep.
Just doubling, it's just multiplying by 2. Just using another method of multiplying by 2.
Can you do 25 for me on the board?
If you do 25, remember our expanded 25. Remember expansion? What is 25? It's 20 plus 5. So when we break it apart, we got 20 plus 5. Then we double 20. When we double 20, we get
40.
When we double 5, we get
10.
So we broke it apart, we split it apart, we doubled each part, and then we added each part we doubled. So 40 plus 10,
50.
50.
Okay, so we're not doubling to get to 100. We're just
Doubling each number, each figure.
6 plus 16.
20. What you doing?
So yo, we ready to try it out?
What? Yes. We don't double them. Just double them. We do not have problems with that. Let's multiply by 2. How far away from 100 are you? 1, 15, 17. This will how many complete the whole. The whole, the next whole is the number with 0.
Is the amount of time divided by 2?
Oh. Nearest 10. Oh.
So we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Doubling, 50.
100.
Doubling, 50.
100.
25.
50.
24.
48.
22.
44.
17.
34.
5.
10.
43.
86.
So, the next review is halving. Remember, it's the same concept in reverse. We split apart, we break in half, we add our half, right? An example, I'm going to do 72. When we break it apart, we get 70 plus 2. Half of 70.
35.
35. Half of 2.
1.
So, half of 72?
36.
It's 36. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Halving, 50,
25.
100,
50.
72,
36.
22,
11.
44,
22.
10,
5.
150. Now, for 150, I didn't go over 3 digits. So, can somebody tell me how they did the 150 when they broke it apart? Raquel?
I did because I know that 100 50 plus 50 is 100. So, and that's when then I put, I know it's 250. Then I put, then I wrote 50 plus 25 because I put 25 because I think half of 50 is 25. And I got 75.
You know how to round?
He just explained it the way that it was supposed to be done. He took the 150 and he broke it apart. 100 plus 50. Half of 100,
50.
half of 50.
25.
50 plus 25.
75.
75. Half of 150 is
75.
75. Good job, Kaylin.
8 plus 2 is 15.
This is a little bit new. When I was doubling and halving last time, I didn't also incorporate the next step, which is
So we're going to the next.
doubling numbers so that you can easily find the answer. Okay, what's significant about the numbers 2, 4, 8, 16, 32? 2, 4. Okay, the significant numbers are 2, 4, 8, 16. They're doubling. 2 doubled is 4. 4 doubled is 8 doubled. 16 doubled.
36.
Yes. Yeah.
32. Right, so when we're doing multiplication, if we take a number such as 2 times 3, we get what? 4 times 3.
12.
8 times 3.
Or just times by whatever number is next to it.
Pay attention. When we went down 2, 4, 8, these numbers double, right? This number stay the same, right? So my answer said what? 6, 12.
4. 24.
So what did they do?
Double.
They doubled also. So that's doubling. So when you get a number such as, say, 16 times 3, you can figure it out easy knowing what 8 times 3 is. Right? Because this is going to double. It's giving you an alternate way
so
of
if one
thinking.
number doubles, then you double the answer.
Keeps doubling. So this is part of our doubling. So
You don't want to play 2K 15, 14, right? You want to do math.
16 times 3.
48.
What I missed?
What we're doing is doubling. If our numbers double, 2, 4, 8, 16, and our second, when we're multiplying by another number, we notice that our answers double. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. 8 times 3 is 24. So each product doubles.
I just told you how many do you need to add to get to 40?
So doubling.
Doubling.
Two. How many you need to add?
Doubling.
Okay, that's all you're
All right,
going
ask questions back to that. I'm ready.
You ready?
And this one is how
Wrote all
it's
the
going
answers
to
down real quick. Okay. So we have 16 times 3 is 48. 32 times 3.
96.
48 double.
96.
You said 36.
I said 96.
You said 96. Yeah.
Okay, hallelujah. I thought he said 36. I was supposed to be like, come on, let's go outside and do 2 times 2. Okay. 96. 64
196.
times 3.
196. 192.
He wrote it. He broke it down for us slow. 192. Go ahead.
Okay. Sir. 128 times 3.
384. Don't read my paper.
384. Can we see how easily this concept can help us?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody have any questions?
Oh, so I'm just doubling. So 6 is 12. 9 is 18. So I'm adding that 1 for 19. Is that how you
The
don't
devil, yeah. Because remember when we doubled up here, how we're showing you, we broke it apart and we added each part up and then added it. wanted to ask something that we had talked about before. Does anybody remember what vertical, crosswise, vertical was? Vertical, crosswise.
Vertical. Vertical. I talked to him.
What is it?
Oh, this copy on her paper. No, this is doubling. What do we double? What do we
I
double?
I show her like
What do we,
different math formulas with
no, what do we double to get 50?
the math.
Wait a minute.
I don't know. That was like a long time
Put this
ago.
wrong. This should have
Do
been.
you remember what vertical, crosswise, vertical is, Carla?
That's double multiplying or something.
Multiplying the double digits. Yes, yes.
I can do that. So
So you're right.
what's the question?
All of those are right. Okay. So half mean
Recalibrate.
you're just figuring out what the half is. Break it apart. So on the 72, you have to do 70 plus 2. Mean half both of those. So half of 70 is 35. Half of 2 is 1. 35 plus 1 is 36. So half of 72 is 36.
You done?
I wanted to show an example of the vertical, crosswise. Okay. Vertical, crosswise, vertical. So remember we had something like this.
25 times 13.
25 times 13. Pay attention. Vertical. Okay. 325. What did you do?
So first I did 5 times 3. That was 15. So I put the 5 right there, put the 1 down. And then I did 5 times 1. That's 5. I put the 5 right there. I did 2 times 3. I put the 6. If that's 6, I put the 6 right there. I did 2. And then that was 5 plus 6 is 11. So I put the 1. I put the 1 by the 15 and put the other one down. And I did 2 times 1, that's 2. So I put the 2 down. And then I did 215. I did 1 plus 1 and then 2 plus 1. I would put the 5 down. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 2 plus 1 is 3. So
Good
that
job.
makes 225.
Good job. He did the vertical, which is 5 times 3. Then the crosswise was 5 times 1 and 2 times 3. With those products, he added them together. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. So vertical, crosswise, he added those crosswise. Then vertical, he did the tens. Vertical.
So my verticals go on one line and my crosswise goes on a different one.
Yeah.
Kind
It's
of.
like,
Okay.
it's like, once you get the hang of it, this will be kind of mental. You'll know that you have to add that one that you put down. Like what we did before, we brought it up and carried it. So what he did was put it down for him to add the same way. I mean, it's that same concept. He just brought it down. So he had the 5 times 3 is 15. So he put his 5 down, and he basically, what we would call, carried his 1 to the next one. Then he did his 11. He put his 11 down, but he didn't forget when he went back and added it all together the same way. He put his 11 down, and then he did the vertical the 2 times 1. So then he went back and he added them.
Now the piece is, remember that the from the crosswise, it's not 1. That's 50 plus 60, which comes out to be 110. That's why it's not placed up under the ones. It's not a 1. That's 100. That's actually 110. Did I just confuse you?
Nope.
Because when you start doing mental math, you got to know what the numbers are. So you got the ones, you got the tens, you got the hundreds. So we already know that this is going to be over 100. So we going up to 100 when we're doing it. So mentally, you got to know that. So when you do the crosswise, so that you don't get confused, you have to realize that you're not dealing with one, so you don't need to deal with the one area. You're dealing with tens. They're actually moving to 100. So,
What we did was, when we did the 5, and we multiplied the 5 and the 3, that was, we multiplied our ones. So what we did was we multiplied by our tens when we crosswise. That's why we went over. And then we multiplied again vertical. And that took us into the next place value.
right, the next place.
Took us to the next place value.
Can we do another one?
Sure.
This is in slow motion.
Come on, recalibrate it.
I don't know how to play.
There's 2 buttons down there with the markers up, hold it, and then push it on.
You know what? I'm almost done with my session. Okay, so 14 times 11. I'm going to explain that. 14 times 11.
See it?
Our first thing is vertical. Our first vertical is the ones. 4 times 1.
4.
4. We put our 4 down. The next thing is crosswise. When we look at them across from each other, we're going to multiply 1 times 1, which is what?
1.
And then we have 1 times 4.
4.
We add these together and get what?
5.
5.
Okay, but the 1 times 1, we're going straight across, right?
Maybe I should use different numbers. Crosswise.
Oh, I see.
Is that 5?
This is going to be 100.
Is it 5? Or what is it?
5.
It's 50.
150.
50. So then we have, the next is the vertical. 1 times 1.
Yes.
1 times 1.
1.
1. Maybe I should have started off with this.
Either way, it's cool. Either way.
Vertical, crosswise, vertical.
Think it's doing the hundreds and thousands or something else. No. Like you said, you might have to recalibrate it. All right. Thanks, Miss Tracy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good job, everyone.
All right. So now y'all remember crosswise, or said it too many times. But y'all get the general idea. All right. So now let's get into the warrior training. We ain't had time to do the other part. I gotta break camp. But I went and made some copies. I only got 10 copies. Some of y'all might have to share. So this is the next chapter of the book. So let's go. I want to read as much as possible. Alright. So, now, so we talked a little bit about warriorship last time, and it's important that we remember that a warrior is one who is involved or experiencing conflict. And what our people need right now is warriors. We need individuals that's willing to face conflict. We need individuals that's willing to be involved in conflict, because from conflict we get growth. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's kind of contrary to a lot of stuff that you hear, but the only way that you become stronger is through conflict. So what we need is people with attitude of warriorship. Right? So now I want to do a reading on what rites of passage is, because we use the word, but oftentimes we don't really know what it is. So we're going to read through this real quick, and hopefully we get to the session where we start getting to apply some things, because I talk about some myths and stuff in here. So anybody want to start reading? This is from my book, Warriors Training. I can't remember the name of the book. I'll come up with the name of the book in a minute. My own book. I don't remember the title. I got 5 of them. She here? All right, cool. Go ahead, start. You got to read loud.
The single page
Yeah, the single page, right here.
The young man looking.
No, where you at? Man, you took one off. Start with the top. Say right. Shoot, I like that though. Hey.
They confused.
And embarking.
Come on, scoot on up so they can hear you.
Rites of passage. When embarking on the journey to become a warrior and NB, we must understand that we are entering a process of self-mastery, now labeled RA, rites of passage. The RA process demonstrates the journey that has involved in all cultures, and it is the major way that a society passes on its wisdom to the next generation. We have to take it upon ourselves. To become conscious of this process and use it to the benefit ourselves and the groups to which we belong. These blog posts and
Haiku.
I call them Atuku. That I will share will help you get an overall idea of life.
It's ROP. Separation from initiation into transformation now. I was thinking about the term rites of passage, and I have come to the conclusion that the title is wrong for the work that we are doing. Rites of passage is a term that was developed from a worldview that was shaped through anthropology. This is a science that strives to look at human activity from an outside perspective. It is called being objective. When you look at something from an objective view, you can never truly get out of the process what is meant. Truly, when we look at the people, or truly when we look at what people were doing with the process, we have this label as rites of passage, or ROP. We see that they were transmitting information that promoted the growth of the society, which requires the participant to be involved or subjected to the process. So we have a process that has a dual purpose. First, introducing the participant to the roles and responsibilities of their new position in the society. On a deeper level, it was introducing the participant to a new part of themselves that was unknown previously. This process should be labeled as self-mastery. Although most society used the process to maintain the status quo, for some other participants, a new way of seeing the world was unleashed. The participant will be introduced to the myths and rituals that would plug them into a power that would transcend their current reality and send them on a lifetime journey to change the society from what it is to the ideal presented in the legends and myth. these individuals would, in a sense, become the archetype or hero of the society and begin a quest to bring new life information to the group that will force growth and expand the worldview of the society. By introducing the new ideas, these individuals would end up going through the trials of the ancient archetypes and through their suffering elevate the society to a new level. This is truly a process of self-discovery and mastery.
So this mastery,
Self-mastery, go ahead.
self-mastery, this has to do with, it says these individuals would in a sense become an archetype or hero of the society and begin a quest to bring new life information to the group that will force growth and expand a worldview of the group or society. So these are your conscious people trying to.
Rites of Passage was about bringing consciousness. When you look at, when we start looking at what Rites of Passage really was, because what anthropologists have done, they talk about adult rites, but Rites of Passage was a process that societies were put in place to help each individual not only go through transitions in life. And going through transitions in life is certain information that you should have. You know what I'm saying? Because we need to maintain this. Like if we have a society, it's certain things that we need to be able to maintain. There's certain traditions that we need to maintain. And you just didn't stumble into those accidentally. You will get those on purpose. So of course, Rites of Passage is about opening up the consciousness. And every now and then somebody will go as far as to be able to bring something new back to the society. Anything else?
I want to I want to explain to Rick Haven that when the NB is nation building.
Right.
So when you say NB is nation building, so you know what it is. You can better understand what you read, okay?
What is
ROP.
ROP was the right
Rites
to
of
pass.
Rites of
Remember
Passage.
when I said read the title? ROP, right to pass.
Any other questions, comments, any other discussion? What's up, girl?
Gigi.
Gina, come from back there. All right. Somebody want to...
I will. The question that each reader must be willing to warriors and nation builders that are willing to read from their own scroll and share what they learn. They also have to be willing to learn and grow, and for many, this is scary. This process has been known to resurrect personal demons that you may have thought long dead. Can you drum up the courage to slay these demons and keep those coming up behind you, slay theirs? This next post deals a little bit more with the process. First, separation. Next, initiation. Then, reintroduction. This is the cycle of warrior. Where are you on your journey? As warriors, we must be willing to face these cycles. They are unavoidable in life. We are forced to deal with the conflict that inherit in this life cycle. These conflicts provide us with opportunities we need to grow if we embrace them. Throughout the ancient world, tribes developed a system to help their warriors face these steps in a structured fashion. The warriors would be introduced to the myths and systems that held their society together. After the warriors went through these systems, they were willing to give their all to defend their society and what they learned. Let's take a brief look at each step of the process because we go through this process either on purpose or by accident. Separation. The warrior is first separated from all they know and enter into what could be called another world. This other world runs by unfamiliar rules to the warrior. In order to survive, the warrior must learn to use the rules to his or her advantage. Initiation. The warrior begins his official training in this new world. The warrior begins to understand the rules and his true trials begin. In this part of their training, the warrior is transformed into the symbolic hero and repeats the trials of the cultural hero. In the process, the hero has to symbolically die. In fact, the person that the initiate was at the beginning of the process dies, and the initiate is reborn as a new being. In some systems, they will receive a new name, so they will be recognized as a new being. The initiate becomes a newer version of the cultural hero and is now ready to return to the regular world with the gifts and knowledge that he or she has acquired through their training. Reintroduction. The new being no longer an initiate returns to the community as a contributing member of the group. There is a celebration and the new being is able to share parts of his tale with those in his tribe. The warrior is now accepted into society with all the rights and privileges of a full member. This cycle has been removed from the prominence that it once held in societies of the world and has been replaced with a system that does not totally address the issues that our ancient system did. Modern system strives to eliminate the mastery of life, while our and other people's ancient rights strove to teach how to live with the mystery of life. I guess what we have to evaluate is whether what we have now is working. We also have to take time to find out where we are as individuals and groups in the cycle, because it works and it's working in our lives right now. When we know where we are, we can know what to expect. You know where you are in your life. This system that is practiced by Yami and our sister organizations are designed to help you find your way. Cultures are designed to self-propagate themselves. The system of self-mastery is used to make sure that the ideas are imprinted on the young. A culture is a set of ideas that a group has developed about themselves. In my research, I found that ideas are powerful tools given to humanity. Ideas act very similar to viruses and can be spread. This is why when an idea spreads on the internet, the term used to describe it is viral. This brings us to the critical question about you. What ideas or viruses are you spreading? Are you a good candidate to be initiated into the Yami culture? In this self-mastery process, the myths, legends, and stories are important. They lay the framework for the culture. Now let's take a look at how to use them to improve your life.
Questions, comments before we move on?
I had a comment. The separation, initiation, and transformation. Separation, you separate from the old you or from your comfort zone?
Both. It's when you go through rites of passage, there's a separation of the individual. For example, if we ever really get into rites of passage, right now we're going through the separation phase, because in order for all of us to come to this room, we have to separate from the world that we know. You know what I'm saying? So in order for any type of change to happen, there has to be some separation. So in rites of passage, in like warrior trainings and stuff like that, there's always a phase where the individual is ripped from the world that they know. Sometimes ripped involuntarily, other times ripped because they made a choice. So yeah, separation means you have to be pulled. So now, and on a personal level, when you need to make a personal change, there's certain things that you have to separate yourself from so that you can accomplish those changes.
I had another.
Nothing else?
The initiation. After the separation, the official training, is that the initial training? What you get into is your own personal growth. Everybody's is basically different.
Now, coming from a group, in the group process is basically the same. But in a personal journey, yeah, everybody goes through their own thing. But because the hard part about explaining the rites of passage process is I'm trying to cover the larger piece as well as the individual piece. It could be used on both, and it happens on both. The major issue is that most people don't know that they are on it, or don't know where they are in it, because we go through it whether we want to or not. All of us at some point in time in our life had to be separated from something. All of us at some point in time had to be initiated into a whole new world. And at some point, we became a master of that and was able to be reintroduced back to society.
To bring it back to them.
To bring it back to the regular world. Mm-hmm. Some of us, like for example, that may have really got deep into our culture, once you separated yourself, and you got a lot of information and you were reintroduced back to society, it's almost as if you didn't fit no more. Because, you know what I'm saying? And really, when you look into ancient times, that is the struggle of most of the heroes in stories. Because they go and they experience this great thing, whether we're talking about Heru or we're talking about Hercules or we're talking about any of these heroes, they experience things and try to bring it back, but nobody understands what the hell they're talking about. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So in myth, what they call this, it'd be like an individual would get gold from a fairyland or from a mystical land. He would bring the gold back, but because nobody understood what it was, it would turn to dust. So he did all that for what would appear to be nothing, but he has improved something within himself. Anything else?
No, could you just explain the reintroduction? Because that reintroduction, I think, is kind of like you said, you don't know that you're going through it when you're going through it in some cases, like you said, by accident. So it's kind of like people's own personal growth. You know, you're not the same person you were 5 years ago, no matter who you are. Hopefully. No matter who you are, you know what I'm saying? You know, you have, even if to take an 8-year-old to fight for 5 years ago, you know what I'm saying? There's growth somewhere, you know, so you can do it accidentally. I mean, I could relate to this rites of passage where everybody experiences it and not really understands or knows what's happening. Being reintroduced, like you said, not exactly knowing like where you belong or if you belong. Like people, you know, you learn things and you comprehend things, and when you get to explain to somebody who has not touched that, then they like, oh, Tracy is not a little nuts. You know, so I get that too. So this is so now I'm understanding the self mastery is like it's a group of mastery where you learning things, but then it's self mastery where you are mastering yourself.
You're mastering yourself, which actually is a misnomer, but I won't go into that.
Okay.
It's not the self that really needs to be mastered, but it's a whole plethora of other things that need to be mastered, because the self, when you look at the definition of the self is absolute, complete, and perfect. You know what I'm saying? So it don't need to be mastered. It's the other parts of our being that needs to be mastered. But also with if we look at school goes through this process. Most societies have a rites of passage. They don't label it as that, or even a mastery process. It might not be about self-mastery, but they put you through a process. Brainwashing goes through the same processes. Liberation goes through the same processes. Let's look at what we do with our kids. Every day, we separate them from the home and we send them to a school. They go through this school process for 12 years, right? And in there, they're being initiated. They get in fights. They go through struggles. And they learn how to speak the language of the culture. Then, at the 12th year, they graduate, which allows them or gives them the permission from the society to where you have been brainwashed enough that now we release you into society. Right? Because the whole graduation piece is a reintroduction ceremony. We got all these ceremonies and all these rituals going on around us every day, but we don't recognize. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we taught that to the world. We showed, we had the first mystery centers, which basically are the universities. But because we don't know, you know what I'm saying, we're just blindly going through these things. And many of us are being damaged because we don't understand what we're going through. Coming into school every day is a ritual. People don't understand that. It's a ritual. You know what I'm saying? You got and when you get to that school, you're dealing with a whole nother world. You know what I'm saying? Every last one of y'all that go to school right now, y'all know that there's certain rules and certain things you can do at home and certain things you can't do at school. That's a whole nother world. You know what I'm saying? Individuals that work in schools are totally different people outside of the school than when they're inside of the school. There's a certain dress code for school, right? You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole process that we're not paying attention to, that we're not using to make our people better. In fact, we're encouraging people to get more involved in the process, not knowing that that's taking us farther away from ourselves. So, all right. Anything else? I'll tell you tonight. Anybody else?
I guess it made me think of it made me think of a couple things that transpired in my life. One being when I removed myself from watching TV, and the things that happened after that, and the fact that now I can't watch TV the same after understanding about socialization, but also it makes me think about when I lost a lot of weight, when I dieted. When I went on a diet, I was almost 300 pounds, and I decided that I'm going to lose weight. And I started learning about food and nutrition. So even when I stopped the diet, per se, my whole lifestyle had changed. And that's why they say dieting or losing weight is a lifestyle change, because it never went back the same. And now I can share this information about eating habits, things of that sort, which I didn't know before, you know, but now I'm able to share these things because I went through that process.
Or even this process that we're going through, this is deemed as our rites of passage. You know, it's a process, and even just to get here is a process.
It's a process.
And how we set it up, it was a process to bring about awareness of growing into adulthood, or once you're in adulthood, how to contribute back into adulthood.
Being and the most important part is being conscious of the process. Most of us are doing things and we're very unconscious about what we're doing, which makes them dangerous.
But that's why I say there's a difference between all conscious people are not enlightened, or enlightened people are not conscious. But we automatically think that someone is conscious, they're enlightened, so they get the bigger picture. But that's not always the case. No, that's just not always the case.
Conscious means just being awake.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And which is being overused. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people read some books, and all of a sudden you like, I'm part of the conscious community. You know, I make light of that because one of the names I took on the internet now is the Hotep Hobo. Because that's the joke now, because you got all these people running around screaming Hotep, talking about black power, blah, 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 but they don't really know it because they don't live it. So the word that's coming out on the internet now is Hotep Hobo. Because I called you when I first heard that word. I said, they talking about me. You know what I'm saying? So, boom, I take that. I'm conscious of that because now I have realized through my travels that just because you read Cheek After Diop, just because you know about Willie Lynch, that don't make you conscious. Don't even make you enlightened. You know what I'm saying? Because our struggle is a lot deeper than a lot of people make it. It's deeper than us just knowing our history, because for me, I realized a long time ago that it wasn't important. All the major thing that I actually believe they destroyed us on is when they took our ability to define. You know what I'm saying? Because now anybody can tell us who's an adult. When adulthood started. As a matter of fact, most of our young men and young women are stumbling into adulthood because we don't have a defining mechanism to show them what adulthood is. We don't even have a definition for what a man is, what a woman is in our community. We don't. We don't define it. And because we don't define it, it's used as a weapon against us.
Because we don't define it, anything goes.
Anything goes. Okay. All right. I got one more thing, then I got homework. We're going to have to hurry up. You're like, what? What? See, because I don't like just talking about the process. I got to make sure y'all go through the process. Now, we're going to have to hurry up and eat because I gotta roll. Man, all right, because I'm down to one vehicle. All right, so here we go. How to use myths, legends, and stories in self-mastery. Now, we'll talk about this a little bit more next week. But in this chapter, we will learn how to use myths, legends, and stories to improve our lives and the lives of all those who enter the tribe after us. I can't stress enough the importance of this part of the journey in your warrior and nation builder training. Stories act as the software that shape our lives, and more importantly, they shape the culture of the people that use them. First, I will give you a format to look at the stories. Then, we will look at the most important story of all time, as well as some stories from the tribe. So what I got is a story builder think sheet. So I want y'all to work on this think sheet, right? It says read the story, take a moment to think about it, write what the story means to you in number 1. Can the information that you receive from the story help you in your life? Explain the answer. And 4, feel free to use the back of the paper to continue writing. Actually, you can't use the back of this paper, all right? So now, That's that. So this is the worksheet for the stories. When we're breaking down stories, this is the process I want you to think about. Because in every story you read, whether we talk about comic book stories or whether we talk about myths or whether we talk about biblical stories, is a certain way that you need to break them down. So that when you're reading them, you can get the message that's there for you. The message that might be in there for you might not be the message for me. Right? But you got to find your message. So in there you got the title of the story, boom, 1. You answer the question, 2, you answer the question, then you answer the couple of questions at the bottom. This worksheet lays the foundation for you to look at the stories that will be presented to you during your time in the tribe. Use it to help you extract the wisdom in the story that is there for you. It is important to remember that good stories, myths, and legends are layered. What I mean by this is that the stories have many interpretations and multiple lessons for the reader, but we can only pick up the lessons we are ready for. That is why it is good to review stories periodically so that you may learn something new as well as engage your own growth. The first story that should be looked at is the most important story. The idea of the most important story came about when I was having a training session with some youth. They helped me, and now I will pass this knowledge to you. They identified their own life story as the most important. Now that I have shared that with you, your life story should be the first one that you analyze. Take some time and develop a timeline for your life and fill in the story. The next set of worksheets will help you look at your own story. So now the homework is going home and looking at your own life story. So I got 2 worksheets. Worksheet 1, where you go through the life story as it is right now. Be honest. Look at your life story, break it down, go through each step. Write out the beginning. If this is not enough, then write something else. On B, where are you now? How did you get here? You know what I'm saying? Boom. Be honest with yourself. If you stay in this story, where would it end? This is the most important part, because I have a lot of people who they think that for some reason their life is going to jump off of the logical path. A plus B will equal C. You know what I'm saying? But we have actual people that honestly think that A plus B will equal X. You know what I'm saying? So if your life is going in a certain way, you got to be honest with yourself. Where will it end? Now, on sheet number 2, what I want you to do is write out your story again. So you go back through that again. But this time I want you to write out your story how you want it to be. I don't care what you do with your birth. Where are you now and how did you get here? I want you to build the story in the way that you want it. But the most important part is at C, how will this story end? See, because this is why I keep telling y'all it's important that y'all become authors. Right? Because when you become an author, you get to determine the end of the story. Now, the most important story that you will ever write is which story?
Your life.
Your own. So what I want is I want you to look at your life and I want you to write the end of your story. And I want you to put events in here that's going to help lead you to the end that you want. Do you understand?
You understand, Mother?
You understand? So y'all take these home and work on them. So that now let's eat and let's break out because I got to get out. I'm sorry.
Alright, if you have markers, let's return the markers. I see a great
You are now listening